right. Up next, we have Coach McDonnell from head coach at Kettle Moraine. He's going to talk his quarters, trips, and trio checks. You're up, Coach.
All right. Can you guys hear me okay now?
Loud and clear, man.
Okay. And my screen showing?
You're good to go.
Awesome. All right. So here's my contact information. If anyone has any questions, I know it's quick. Just reach out to me, call me, text me. So we're talking quarters, trips, checks, and we are primarily a quarters team, but our trips checks aren't always necessarily quarters based, but we're going to start too high, so we kind of consider it all part of quarters. We'll typically carry roughly 3 into a week, and we're going to game plan that based on the route concepts that we're going to see, the quarterback, obviously, personnel, and then who they're going to try to get the ball to. So the majority of our trip checks are going to be game plan based on watching film and breaking it down. And then to me or to us, the biggest factor we're looking for is the single receiver side. You know, are they trying to get the ball to him? Are they trying to go to the 3-man side? Do we feel we can guard the single receiver side one-on-one? Or do we think we need to get some help over there? And so that's kind of what goes into our checks for the week. So I'm going to go through our main checks pretty quickly here, and then if we have time, we can talk a little bit about how we'll maybe decide on it or defend certain routes. We are primarily a front defense, so things are a little bit different. So this is one of our trips checks. It's pretty simple, but we're going to play cover 2 to the single receiver side. So this is against a team that we feel either 1 wants to get the ball over here a lot, or 2 we need some help defending. And so you'll see that we don't send a backer on our diagrams just because that will be called. So these really, in this case, these 3 guys, our Mike, our Will, and our Bandit, really need to communicate with each other and understand the call. If the number 1 receiver is really, really a stud, we can play cover 2 here. So we'd have a funneled outside corner, and he'd funnel him into the linebacker, and we'd have a safety over the top. So really, we'd have a 3-on-1. If we feel confident enough with 2 over 1, we can send him and play some twist games and stuff on the back side of that. It's cover 2 for the inside backers. Obviously, one of them is going to come. And then on the 3-man side, we're going to lock our corner up on number 1, with the exception of if he's going to screen or do some sort of drag underneath. Hard deck or underneath 5 yards, he'll zone his quarter looking for a corner route or some sort of flood concept or just a tunnel and go type of deal. The strong safety in our Sam backer, we call it mix. It's 2 read. A lot of guys call it blue. So we're reading 3-2. So essentially, you're taking the number 1 receiver out of the picture now and still playing your normal quarters if it was 2-by-2. So that's number 2 receiver. We call your new number 1. So this is a little expensive to teach to that outside backer, but if you have a kid who can do it, we feel it's pretty good. It takes away a lot of quick game and gives you some answers on the backside. We also like this out of nickel. So a lot of times our nickel will be that Sam player, and he's already a DB, so he understands it, and it's a lot simpler to teach that way because he already knows his responsibilities. But essentially, they're reading 2-3 comes out quick. Our outside backer will take him in strong safety. He has to get over the top of number 2. If number 3 goes vertical, the strong safety will take him, and our Sam backer is left on number 2 man-to-man. And then again, on the backside, we're playing cover 2. So that's essentially one of our trips checks. Our other one is like cover 6, quarter, half. So again, we're playing half to the single receiver side, and same kind of methodology on this side, or on the single receiver side with that overhang. We can either really focus in and play 3-over-2, or we can send him off the edge and focus more of our coverage onto the 3-man side. So our corners are zoning their quarter, getting to the top of the numbers, getting depth over everything. The safety's getting right down that hash, getting depth again over everything. He will be taught to bend, because obviously one of the things you can see a lot of is 4 verticals. So in that case, our Sam plays what we call a quarter flat. So if number 2 runs vertical, he'll run with him. And that's kind of our answer to 4 verts. And again, these guys are playing cover 2, so our Mike's also going to help get to the void there if he's not coming. Otherwise, it will be our will backer. And so that is one of our answers. Again, if we're really worried about that single side. From there, so we didn't run that first coverage too much because we had 2 new outside backers. But this is a clip of playing cover 2 to one side, and quarter half.
Hey, Coach, if you do it in slow-mo, it's better for us. It's really choppy if you just let it play. So do it in slow-mo.
Oh, okay. So like this is good?
That's a little bit better, yeah.
Okay.
That way we can see. Otherwise, it jumps.
Gotcha. So you can see our safety. He's really getting depth off his hash. He's getting a little too far inside already, but he's also going to be getting a lot of depth. They're just trying to take away anything vertical. On the back side, so over here, you'll see our cover 2 look, which allows our corner. He sees this tunnel type action, and then they throw it off to the back so that he's allowed to jump that, kind of forcing an incomplete pass. It obviously helps that we got our Mike backer came off the edge. But so that's just kind of what it looks like. He doesn't do a great job rerouting anybody, but does an okay job sinking and trying to get into a passing lane. Then you'll see our safety over here is still, obviously gets blocked, but he's, his job is to play cover 2. So he's really getting depth and making sure we don't get beat over the top of anything on that side. So we can live with that. So I guess I'll show it one more time. You guys can kind of see it all in action. This is our Mike backer. So he's the guy we sent, and he's coming off the edge on this one. Nope. This one. So that's kind of what that one looks like. You don't need to see the tight view. This is, another traditional quarters check. This is now we feel we can lock up on the backside. So we're going to lock our corner on 1. On the trip side, we're going to play still quarters, like zone country quarters as a day 1 install. And then we're going to poach or cross key number 3 vertical. So that safety is going to get his run pass read, still popping his feet because we do expect him to fill this backside alley on run action. He sees pass. Now he's looking with his eyes on 3, looking to take him vertical or in, where our corners and safeties are still playing that deep quarter. And then our sandbacker can play the curl to flat. And of course, our Mike can wall and play hook curl, and we'll sense somebody. Another thing that we like to do out of this is if they like to go to the number 1 receiver a lot, but we feel he can cover him, we won't send this outside backer, and now we can play what we call a vice technique, and our corner will play outside leverage, and the bandit or that overhang will be looking for any in-breaking route from number 1 and be physical with that kid on anything that's going to come in or under. So we still can kind of get a little bit of a double team there and help that corner out. The other thing with this is it's a good for us answer to teams that love to run like that inside zone pop, right? So he's going to come here and they'll throw this pop pass right here because our Mike backers are going to be aggressive and come here. Our free safety is kind of keying in on that, and that's a decent answer for us. As we get better with everything, we also teach this as he's poaching number 3 still. And now these 2 are playing their normal, the corner and the strong safety are going to play their normal mix rule. So they're reading 1 to 2 and essentially playing like in the previous slide when we took away the number 1 receiver. In this one, we'd be taking away the number 3 receiver and just playing on number 1 and 2. So that's kind of our methodology on that one. And I think this is a little play action here. Sorry, slow it down. So here's that boundary safety cross keying 3. He doesn't do a great job here. You can see his eyes are in the backfield and he's peeking instead of trying to play his man, and then is flat-footed to come downhill. But he's still, at the end of the day, we can live with this if they're going to be RPOing a lot because we feel it's killer steal for this guy. right? Like he's going to be taught he's either got to deliver a blow or step in front of that and pick that off. If we continue to play this coverage against this look, we feel we'll get better at it. And you can see these other guys are getting on the back or on the trio side here, they're getting depth. Overall, he sees quick game, so he can step up. Our safety, we still have covering deep in case it's a bubble go, tunnel go, that type of deal. And then we're locked in on the backside. So then we get into some of our cover 3 style checks. This is probably my personal favorite. We used to call it slide. So it's essentially like 3 cloud strong. And so what we're doing here is, again, we're locking up on the backside. Our overhang, we're either going to send or we'll play like that plates technique so that we can get him some help. And now that corner is going to squat and play really aggressive. We call it 0 to 10. So he's taking anything underneath and quick out to the flat, and he's super, super aggressive on it. And then our strong safety is going to roll to the third rather than a half. And we feel that as he jumps anything shallow, a decent quarterback will see that, think it's cover 2. But he's rolling a little bit wider than he would in cover 2, so he can get the whole shot. And then a good quarterback will see this safety coming here and really assume that it's cover 2, won't have time confirm that and think the middle of the field open, but our backside safety is going to roll late and close the middle of the field. And so he'll be sitting there playing the post, and we try to get an interception from there. Our Sam backer then is playing what we call seam to curl. So normally in a cover 3, you play seam curl flat, but our corner's playing that 0 to 10, so we don't need him to run to the flat. So it allows him to be more physical on the number 2 or the number 3 receiver and carry some routes vertical. We're going to wall 3 between our Mike and our Will. If they, because one of them's going to go or the backside guy's going to go. And one thing we also will do with this, or like to do with this, is send a 5-man pressure, and we still think that we're okay because we really have a wall player and we don't necessarily need help on the number 1 receiver. So that's one of our favorite ways to defend trips. It's really good against bubbles and goes, tunnels and goes, teams that love to throw. Quick game over here or flood concepts to the 3-man side, and still gives us, we feel, a pretty good answer on the backside. So here's an okay look at it. You'll see our corner to number 3 here. Well, looks like he's going to kind of play like a cover 2 look or a press look. Then he kind of bails out. And he's a senior 2-year starter for us. So he's getting kind of good at it. And you'll see that he kind of plants his foot with his eyes inside. He sees this out route and kind of just sits flat, trying to bait the quarterback to throw that. Obviously, he gets some pressure, so he can't. And then you'll see our safety. You can see our safeties roll here. Not terrible job, but not great either. And then on the backside, you can see that we're running off with the receiver over there. And so that's how we would roll and how we would cover that concept out of it. And then the last one, as we're running out of time, is just more of a traditional cover 3. So the safety is going to roll down. Again, he's going to play seam to curl rather than seam to curl to flat because we do have our Sam backer who's going to buzz the flat. I guess in all of our trio and trips checks, we were trying to get somebody into the flat right away to the 3-man side to take away quick game. And we can also game plan and play games with these 2, the strong safety. Sorry, I don't know if you guys can see my mouth. So the strong safety and the Sam, we'll play games with them of where we'll roll down. So sometimes the strong safety will roll over number 3 and the Sam can play over number 2. And then sometimes we'll invert that. But either way, we're trying to get someone to roll down. And then, the corner and the free safety are still playing cover 3 roles. Our free safety is kind of similar to everything else, poaching essentially number 3, like he's reading that front side, looking over here. And we teach this corner on the backside. He's manned up. And to not expect help. If he gets help, great. So even on a post, this guy's expected to cover him one-on-one. And if he gets help because of the route concept over here, maybe it's flood to the trio side, our free safety will now help out over there. But if he gets vertical stretch by number 3, he will end up over that. So the corner needs to understand that he's not always going to have help in this concept. So that is it. About our 15 minutes. So
Perfect.
reach out to me if you guys have questions.
So you got 2 quick questions. One, if you send 5, do you peel on the running back flare?
Yes, no doubt.
And then the second one is, how do you adjust the motion from 2x2 to 3x1?
So to adjust to motion, it's on the safeties. They'll see it and call it out. And we double call all of our calls prior to it, so the kids will automatically know what trips checks will be in. So if you see the number 2 coming across in motion, like they'll start yelling, check 9, check 9, check 9. And so then we'll get into that from there.
Sweet. Sounds good. Thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you guys.